Let's get some price picks in today, guys. If you've been following the channel recently, in the past week to be specific, I've been on an insane run of about 115 units in the past 6 days. But last night that run came to an end, a -3 unit day on price picks. I got about 7 slips in and two awful bad beats. This first one here on Fred VanVleet. He hit a 3 in the last 5 minutes to just absolutely end the slip. Similar with Sadiq Bey, except he couldn't pull through. I believe he missed like 3 or 4 threes in a row in the last quarter. So unfortunate. That could have went on a 7-night run, which is very hard to do because, as you see, I only play 6 flexes and 4 powers. I'm not out here playing 2 powers that you could win every single day. I play the hard ones for the bigger payouts. As for the picks from last night's video, Paul George, James Harden on the stack did not hit. Paul George cashed. It was a positive expected value play. We had it juiced to about -130, -135. James Harden was kind of just there. He did have juice on the under, but I just wanted to pair him with Paul George. Did not hit together. Clint Capella cashed easily on that over 10.5 rebounds. I believe he had 7 at the half, then cashed the rest in the second half. Now, Jared Allen was a pick I was really liking. We went over everything. I showed you guys if Jared Allen does not get at least 30 minutes, he has never cleared this over 12.5 rebounds. We could check what he did last night. It was a blowout as I expected, 140-101. He played 29 minutes, but he still dropped 19 rebounds. And just goes to show you guys, matchups, of course, are important. No matter how much research you do, these lines are set by extremely smart people, extremely smart models that have been pumped billions and billions of dollars into it. It's set at 12.5 for a reason. And normally when you're setting a line at something, there's about a 55% to a 45% chance that it's going to hit. It would not be set at 12.5 if there was a 70% chance to hit. They'd set at 13.5. So just for example, these lines are fair. They are set on price picks specifically to hit around 50% of the time. We're looking for those ones with a bit of an edge. This Jared Allen did still have a bit of an edge, but even though it hits 0% of the time this season at 30 minutes, it's not a lock. Nothing is ever a lock. We're looking for things that hit about 55% of the time. And this one, unfortunately, did not pan through last night. What got onto the board for today is an extremely small slate, only 2 games. We got the SAS versus Milwaukee game here, and we got the Golden State versus Denver game here. And you could see, actually, I'm going to go with Jonathan Kuminga. He's right here on my screen. We grabbed him the night before versus Orlando on the over PRA. He absolutely cashed it. It was at 19.5. He got 19 points, and then the rest was easy to cash with the rebounds and assists. Tonight, we're going with the points, actually, because that PRA line is set too high, but his points prop at 13.5, I do believe is very nice. We'll take a look at him on props.cash. And like I explained in the previous video with his PRA, this 34% is not really indicative of how Kuminga's been playing. See, at the beginning, he has gone under this quite a bit at the beginning of the season, and he's been catching up recently with Draymond out, with more minutes. He has been clearing this over 13.5 line. Now we'll look at some other things here. So I'm not looking at this stat as an indicator of if we should grab his over or under. We're looking at Kuminga as a whole, and first thing I notice is the juice towards that over 13.5 on every single sportsbook. The lowest is -120 towards the over, and the highest is here on Caesars at -129. On OddsJuice, we flagged them as a positive expected value play here at over 13.5 points, -122 fair or 55% likeness for him to go over. On top of that, we're going to look at his recent game logs. Versus Orlando, last game he played 34 minutes. That is a ton of minutes and very easy for him to cash these props as he did last game. You see he got 19 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. So obviously he would cash the PRA too. And then in more recent games, he got 25 minutes, 24. 25 minutes, he cashed the 16. In this 24 one, he did not. And we'll take a look at some more logs here. The only game he did not go over this 21-minute mark is versus Portland here. And then earlier in the season, you could see he's getting like 17, 16, 10, 21, 18. Obviously, his minutes have been increasing recently with Draymond out. And just in general, Steve Kerr is playing him more. And on top of this, it is a tight spread game. Golden State at home here at +3.5. So Denver's still expected to win. That is a tight game, guys. If we're getting down to the wire, the last few minutes, like this Orlando game here, 121 and 115, it's a tight game. Kuminga's going to be getting those extra 1-2 minutes, and those extra 1-2 minutes could be an extra 2-3 points, right? There's a lot of things pointing towards his extra minutes. We'll take a look at how these extra minutes actually affect him. And to start, he has a 22.2 average in general. So bump it up to 23 minutes. We're expecting to at least expect him at least 21 minutes. But 23 plus is very realistic, especially he just bounced back off a 34-minute game versus Orlando. He has hit this 64% of the time. So you can see how these minutes really change the flow of Kuminga's points here. And the more minutes he gets, of course, the more points he's going to get. That's obvious, but just in general, is he going to get these minutes? That's what we're really projecting here. And I think, yes, he could get at least 23 minutes. We'll even check like his averages without Draymond Green, see if that goes up. 24 minutes average per game without Draymond Green. So we can even bump this to 24 minutes to see how he does. and that's 6 out of 8 times he has gone over this 13.5 points. The biggest point of concern I see here is the Denver defense, who is third in points allowed, so it could be harder for Golden State to score these points. But we'll also check the previous game logs versus Denver. And the last time they played Denver, it was not too long ago here, on Christmas. Kuminga played 23 minutes and got 13 points, so hooked right under that 13.5. And the last time they played, he did not play many minutes, only 19, and he got 10 points. Ski with 19 minutes, he got 10 points. With 23 minutes, he got 13 points. If he gets like 24, 25, I think he easily cashes this. If he gets 30, I think it's even easier for him to cash it. So we'll see what happens tonight in terms of minutes. I do think he'll be getting more, and it should be an easy cash similar to what happened last time versus Orlando. Jonathan Kuminga over 13.5 points is going to be the first pick. Now here's another pick I would stack him with. On Chris Paul over 7.5 assists, it's not as good, but I did find some value on it. We'll take a look at Chris Paul's assists. Now the only problem I see here is in the past 4 games, he has totally been tanking this, but we're not going to look at the most recent games. He could have bad streaks. Denver defense is also 6th in assists allowed. That's the bad things about this pick, but we'll get into the good things. So first thing I see here is positive juice towards that over. Minus 125 on every sportsbook except FanDuel at minus 120. So we know the over is more likely to happen. We also see that it's cleared this 50% of the times this season. But now, of course, things are changing here. First of all, they're at home. Second of all, Draymond Green is, of course, out. So we'll check the home splits here. 65% of the time he has cleared this. And then we'll check without Draymond Green, where 61% of the time he has cleared this. So 2 positive things in that direction. 1, Draymond being out, and 2, them being at home. If we combine these, 75% of the times this season, he has cleared this. Now we already know that this is a tight spread game and that there's likely going to be more minutes for the starters. So let's take a look at how Chris Paul plays with some extended minutes. But first I want to see how his minutes actually change with and without Draymond. So 27.6 average with and without Draymond, 24.5 average in games with Draymond, and then without Draymond it gets bumped to almost 30 minutes per game. Let's take a look at how he does with 29 minutes per game, for example. That's an 80% hit rate on these over 7.5 assists. So honestly, we're just worried about him finding his form again. In the past 4 games, he has been a bit off, as I showed you right here. If he finds this nice little form here, gets back into the streak, I think this is a decent prop on that over 7.5 assists. So that is the second pick, and as I said, I would stack it with Jonathan Kuminga. If they're both playing a lot of minutes, they're more likely to hit their props together, and maybe some of these assists will actually go to Kuminga. Maybe 2 of them, that fills up 4 to 6 points for Kuminga, for example. The last NBA pick is actually going to be an NBA 1Q prop here in the first quarter. We're going to go with Victor Wembanyama on the over 4 points. I think this is a great line. We'll take a look at him on props.cash. So first of all, when I went on props.cash, they had his line set at 5.5. I'm not sure exactly how it works, but obviously this is too high. We're getting him all the way down at 4 points, and you could see already how this hits. And he has at least pushed this 4 line 63% of the time this season. They are at home tonight, and he has cleared this 77% of the time, or at least pushed the 4 77% of the time this season. Only 3 games he has gone under this. So I'm liking these splits. I'm liking just in general that we're getting him at 4. The juice is actually on the over 18.5 points at minus 125. We're getting 4 points in the first quarter, and if you multiply that by 4 quarters, you get 16. So we're 2.5 points off this point total, which is actually already juiced towards that over 18.5. And just in general, NBA starters will get their most points in the first quarter. It's more likely than the fourth quarter, right? Where he might be getting benched, especially in a game like this, where the spread is set at -9, and it is the San Antonio Spurs, so you could expect them to get blown out by the Bucks. We'll also check the quarter props and check how many points are actually expected in this quarter. So right here, you can see the San Antonio Spurs is projected basically at 28.5 points. So you could see them scoring about 29, 28, maybe 30 points. So what does that mean for us? Victor only needs to score about 15% of the points in that first quarter, and we get this push at the very least. I think it's a very easy push, as I've shown here. 63% of the time he has at least pushed. Let's see if he actually cashes the over 4.5, about 52% of the time. And then at home, 63% of the time. I think this is a very nice prop to throw into a nice 6 flex as a last leg. So that is going to be the NBA picks for tonight. But I'm going to go into one more pick on tennis. I found some value for tomorrow's games at 5 a.m. And it's going to be on Rafael Nadal on the under 21.5 total games. I'll show you on Bet365, for example, just one sportsbook where his line is set at. So total games is set at 20.5 on Bet365, about 50-50. We're getting about 21.5 on Prizepicks. If you guys don't know anything about tennis, one game is quite significant. So just to say 20.5 games has about 50% chance of going under or over. We have the 21.5 flagged on OddsJuice here at 55.56% to go under 21.5. So that one extra game is giving us an extra 5.56% edge on this tennis match. So that is the pick for tennis if you guys are into that. Rafael Nadal under 21.5 total games. I'm not going to lock in this specific slip because I will be making a 6x probably later in the day, but these are the picks I'm going to go with for today. So a couple overs here and then one under on Rafael Nadal. Good luck, everyone. If you're liking these picks, let me know if you're tailing.